Welcome to the DEbrief. My name is Mariah Fletcher and I'm your host, where the DE brings the news to your ears. Our first reporter is Orion Wolf, who covered the City Council meeting and special City Council meetings this week. They were talking about the camping ordinance that would impact the homeless population in the Carbondale by banning public camping in the city. The community responded back that resulted in a 3-hour special hearing with Carbondale City Council. So tell me what's going on.
So an ordinance was proposed on Friday at a special meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. There wasn't a lot of time beforehand for people to prepare speeches or things that they had to say because the public didn't really know until Wednesday what was going on. And the ordinance would have declared public camping to be a nuisance. It would have been a nuisance. In law terms, it's just basically something that is a significant and unreasonable interference in public life.
So what specifically are the concerns that were said by the community?
There was a lot of concerns with, I think, how communication between different groups, like the city council, the public, especially in regards to the meeting in particular, because it came up out of nowhere and it was in the middle of the day on a work day for a lot of people. So a lot of people who might have shown up wouldn't have been able to show up. Mm-hmm. And when I was talking to Nathan Colombo, he told me that it had come off very as much like the city council was trying to sneak something under the nose of Carbondale constituents, but that wasn't really the intended purpose. It was just, there was some sort of breakdown between what was going on behind the scenes with city council and city staff that sort of led to an oversight in that department. And a lot of people were concerned that, they were going to try to vote on it not behind the backs, but they were going to try to vote on it while they were expecting people not to come, that they were going to vote on it, but they didn't vote on it. And there was no intention to vote on it by city council.
Nathan Colombo said, "We are all working on this issue consistently. We find ourselves tripping over the way that we come forward and present how we are going to work on this issue." Has the city council said any opportunities that this would bring?
He introduced a list of potential solutions that the city and the public and everyone involved in this, nonprofits, whatever, that they could try to implement on some smaller levels, and even some bigger levels too. The ideas were pretty much city council ideas. They were public ideas. They aren't reflections of like Nathan Colombo's own personal opinions, but there is a lot in there that they proposed. They didn't go through all of it, but they proposed it as something to think about, something to chew on, is what Colombo said. And I think there's an intention, based on what was said at the city council meeting, that they are going to continue to have meetings to bring the public in and bring public comment in to discuss what is happening going forward. There was also an idea brought forward by the public about a coalition of people who want to help city council come up with these ideas and help implement them in the community.
Awesome. All right, Orion, thank you so much for coming on. Next, I have digital editor Peyton Cook and new staff reporter Soph Levinson, who went out on election day around Carbondale and Marion to take photos and get some interviews. How was that?
It was tough.
It was real tough. Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So I picked Soph up at around 7:15 a.m. and then we drove to Carbondale City Hall, and I think they had 3 voters at that time.
Right.
And when we got there, no one was there. We were just talking to the election judges, and I know we ended up going back to City Hall that day, and then I went back a third time, and it was so dead. There was an election judge who had a pillow out, and she was just sleeping.
No way.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, that's funny. So your article was titled Democracy in Action, Low Turnout for Primary Midterm Elections in Jackson, Williamson County. How low was the turnout? Can you give me an idea?
So based off of their unofficial results, about 25% for both counties voted.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I knew it was
Wow.
low, but I thought maybe in magical powers that a lot of people turned out when
This
we weren't
something
there.
just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were having trouble to figure out where we were going to go for Marion.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then Soph found a really cool location.
Yeah, it was awesome. Marion's Firehouse, their Station 1, which was, I've never seen a polling place in the fire station. My dad's a firefighter, so I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe, I'm familiar with it. I'm not familiar with that sort of territory, so it was really interesting.
Interesting. So was it hard to get any interviews with the low turnout?
Yeah, especially trying to get people to want to talk to us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I think, first are like, oh, I'm going to have to share my political beliefs or anything. But that wasn't what we were looking for. We were looking for, like, their individual, like, why they came out and why they showed up.
Okay. Yeah. So were there a lot of students voting? I'm hoping that there was.
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
Not at least for Jackson County.
Okay, so we saw more in Williamson County.
I'm not sure about Williamson County,
Okay.
and I think it's a lot to do with this just being a college town.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When we talked to election judges, specifically at Grinnell Hall, they had talked about how their book was full of students who had moved, but they were still registered for this county. And so they had just a book full of people who were not going to vote.
Wow. See, I'm still registered back home, so that's why I wasn't going to the polls here, because I have to drive home to vote.
Yeah.
So maybe, fingers crossed, that's what was going on, and people weren't just like, well, I'm not. No thanks. Hopefully. So, Soph, this is your first news assignment. How do you feel, and how was that for you?
It was terrifying, honestly.
Really? Why?
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I have really bad social anxiety,
That's
but
okay.
Peyton was like the best ever, and was a really good support system for me, especially like I've already done one assignment since then.
Yeah.
And I can already see that my confidence is growing, and I'm taking points from Peyton that I learned that day. We also just like got a chance to, you can only read so much and like prepare so much.
Yeah.
It's one thing to actually apply it into like an assignment. So it was a lot of shaking in my boots, but
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you two so much for coming on. I can't wait for next week.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
I'm here with Sare Breder, who is a sophomore in mortuary science here at SIU. Tell me a little bit about that and how you kind of got into that and how that got started.
So I was originally a psych major, and I had always had a really kind of niche interest in like death and dying and stuff like that, because my favorite topic when talking about psychology is grief, because it's such a sporadic and very intense emotion, and it looks different for everybody.
It's such a human experience.
It is a
too.
very human experience. And so I enjoyed psychology for that factor. And I also, in high school, I used to do like cadaver labs and stuff.
Right.
And I really fell in love with just being around that environment. I love being in lab and doing all that stuff. So switched my major to mortuary science, kept my psych minor, and we're just going from there.
Awesome. So how does this degree work? Like clinicals, like internships, what's going on towards the end of your degree so you can get that hands-on experience?
So it's a 4-year program, and it's pretty standard. You got your gen eds and all your basic classes. Your senior year, your first semester is just like every other semester, and then second semester you get to pick a funeral home that you want to intern with, and I believe it has to be in Illinois.
Okay.
But within like 6 hours, like I have a friend in Chicago doing hers.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she just went home and doing her internship. And then you come back, you take your finals, graduate, and go take your boards. So
Awesome. What do the boards look like?
I am not super familiar with the boards as of right now. I know that they're in 2 parts. I know it's the arts and the sciences of mortuary science. So the arts, I believe, is like your planning a funeral, and stuff like that. And then the sciences are more like what goes on in the lab.
All right. So how do you practice this kind of art form? Like, are there dummies? Are there bodies? Like, what's going on?
We do practice on real people.
Right.
And all of our, I guess I don't really know what to say about all that, but
It's okay.
But yeah, no, we do practice on real people.
Okay.
So, but everything that we learn how to do stuff in class, and then we can practice when we
Okay.
get into lab.
So do you have, I've just seen these before, like on internet deep searches, where they have like a dummy head.
Yeah.
And it has some kind of like fatal accident that had happened, and you kind of have to regraft
like
the
a facial
face.
reconstruction.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that?
So there are, I don't know what the fake heads that we have.
Yes.
We don't have ones that, at least I haven't seen the ones that have like, pieces missing or anything
Right.
like that. But we do, I know Restorative Art 2 students do full facial reconstructions on dummies. Like it's just a
Okay.
fake head, kind of skull looking thing.
Yeah.
And then use certain waxes to kind of build the face. And you can pick like a celebrity and just try and recreate their face on that
cool.
skull.
Okay. So accounting is a pretty popular minor. Is there a reason why? And tell me a bit about your minor and how you kind of landed there.
So I have seen a lot of accounting and business minors in my major, and that was what I wanted to go into originally, because I was like, oh, that'd be perfect. Like, you're running your own business, you run numbers, you do books and stuff like that. That'd be awesome. I got to learn all that. But then I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, you kind of learn how to do all of that already, like how to run a funeral home in mortuary school to begin with. I see a lot of forensic minors too, which makes sense.
Yeah.
People go on to go get their forensic pathology. I chose psych specifically so I could continue to practice grief psychology
Right.
and study it later.
Awesome. So you told me earlier that you're kind of wanting to own your own funeral home.
Yes.
And do all the practice out of there. What would go into that? Because would you also be like the funeral director? So you'd basically cover all the boxes from what I understand, right?
Yeah, there's a saying that funeral directors wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And there's also the saying that funerals are kind of like planning a wedding in 2 days.
Right.
So it's a lot, but I would technically be a first generation funeral director because I don't have any
Cool.
family or anything that does mortuary science. So I feel like it would be a little, it's different for everybody depending on what their background is. Because I know a lot of my friends that are in school have, a funeral home that they can go to.
Runs in the family.
Yeah, runs in the family. And I always thought that was so fascinating. But running your own funeral home, wearing all the types of hats, like we also, have to wash the hearses and vacuum the floors and prep the flowers, take in orders. And it's just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But, you can hire employees. It's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable.
Right. So with funeral homes and funeral services, sometimes there is some drama because obviously there's some family getting together that haven't seen each other in a while. And obviously just some other things, emotions are running high. Are you taught to kind of deal with the family side of the drama within your schooling?
I don't know if we're necessarily taught.
Right.
But I feel like that I feel like you should expect that going into any sort of field that deals with people in general.
Yeah.
Because, you have to also think like doctors have to deal with that, nurses have to deal with that, have to deal with all the family drama. So I want to say it's not very different from funeral service other than, you will be the one sitting at the desk with the family in front of you while they're arguing. And you just kind of have to sit there and be like, okay. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, because ultimately it comes down to like, well, then who's paying for it? And some people have pre-needs, which, those have to be honored. And some people don't want them to be honored because they think one way or another. So I don't know if we're necessarily trained to deal with that, but I think that's something that comes with years of experience.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a skill you kind of get in your field from working with people in general.
Right.
That, it's like, I'm not the mediator here, but I'm here for you if you need to talk.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's important for funeral directors because there is kind of some nuance with, well, this is going on, but I'm here for you guys.
Right.
Kind of thing. So I really respect that. Thank you so much for coming on, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Mariah Fletcher, and thank you for listening to the DEbrief. See the Daily Egyptian online at dailyegyptian.com. Our print edition is all around campus in Southern Illinois. Check our website for all locations of our print edition is available. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and LinkedIn. Send us your opinion at editor@dailyegyptian.com or DM us on Facebook and Instagram.